I ran a TLCCWA trip to the Kennedy Ranges in late 2024, and although that trip only had 5 vehicles in the convoy, the rerun in September 2025 proved to be incredibly popular initially. The plan was to run 2 trips because of the large numbers. Big Red was to lead the first group and I was to follow up with the second group one day behind. However, circumstances dictated that all but 3 parties had to pull out of Group 2 and a few more dropped off Group 1. A last-minute decision was made to combine the 2 groups back into a single convoy of 12 vehicles. Group 2 had to scuttle up to meet Group 1 at Chinaman Rock, north of Yalgoo, and further complications meant that I had to make my own way up to our next camp at Billung Pool as a convoy of 1. That's why I seem to be really no mates in this footage. This is the first day that the convoy travelled as a whole together.
Well, this is the track we were waiting on. Slow and steady, you can take in the side.
Because you're much higher than the last time we were here.
Yeah, I think so. I was then thinking about Mooka Springs. I don't think it's going to be as lush and green as it was when we were last here.
I had to take over as temporary trip leader for much of the journey to our campsite that day, as Big Red had suffered a mishap with his caravan suspension, which he had to fix with the content of his socket set, a couple of mould rips and a lot of gaffer tape. Hanging back with Gus and Bear and assistants, they made short work of the bush repair and pretty much caught up with the rest of the convoy. Yeni Springs is characterised by a number of majestic white gums and an imposing palm tree, no doubt sprouting from a date pit deposited by camel back in the day when camel trains would have been the only means of moving goods in and out of this country. The running water here would have made this and every other spring on this side of the ranges a vital stop-off point.
Hi, we spent last night at Shaftcutter's Spring campsite on the Kennedy Ranges Loop. Beautifully serene location, and it was very pleasant last night. But during the night the wind picked up and everything's covered in a pretty gritty brown dust today. I'm glad to get back on the move, to be honest.
And an hour or two into the day, we start the long climb up to the top of the ranges. Once the terrain levels out, the scenery varies between sandy tracks, parallel dune formations and spinifex country. Then you get your first glimpse of the eastern scarp slopes at Great Gorge. Where this country really comes into its own, it's at either end of the day, either at sunset or sunrise. This year we're camping a bit further north than we did last year. We're in the area known as the Neck, I think. I'm not sure we're quite on the Neck. Different lookout than previously, and most of the camp I think is up and about ready for the sun to come out, which is pretty imminent. Last year we stopped at both Merlin-Lee Homestead and the shearing sheds, but to be honest there's not a great deal to see at the homestead. I couldn't work out why I was getting such stunning colour on the scarp slopes while I was taking these astro shots until I realised that the moon had just started to rise. And then onwards to Mount Augustus. Many people struggle with the comparison between Mount Augustus, the world's largest monocline, which is a fold in the rock strata, and Uluru, which is the world's largest monolith in a single rock. In any case, Mount Augustus is considerably larger than Uluru. It's not all arid red dirt out here. And with the weather looking more threatening, it was time to start heading towards home. then we found ourselves back on that nasty black stuff. Just one more camp at Linger Longer near Linton.